No.
We even have that lever.
Come back.
No, Willy Wonka, it is my duty to go into the chocolate river. Whoa, wait, hold on. Never mind. Hello, and welcome to Pack Tactics. It's been a while. It has been so long that the last recorded episode is going to go live soon. We've gone through that backlog.
Oh my god.
Yes. Tonight, I'm joined by a bunch of awesome people, including Beth, Ellie, Io, and Jen. They are all playing kobolds. I say this with a straight face, looking directly at the camera that's not plugged in, but I'm looking at the camera anyway. They are all kobolds. Any argument that they are not kobolds is not factually sound and not done with the appropriate amount of research.
Exactly.
Also, the one with the plush tail is not a short dragonborn.
Petite
is the appropriate word to use.
Uh-huh.
And we will not be taking questions at this time. Actually, we will be taking questions because the question is, I didn't introduce myself. I'm very tired.
Hi, very tired. You're our GM.
Yes. Very soon I'm going to crash.
Oh.
You're welcome. I'm here all week. And what did we do last time? Who remembers from over a month ago?
We picked up a new survivor.
You did. Who is a freelance procurer of goods.
Especially when you procure them because your ship and crew are more physically et than the people who originally had it.
My favorite line from Bapaki's origin, where Bapaki is telling everyone what she did after her escape pod went out of the angel ship during the crash. Not this crash, the other crash. The non-personified one that involved physics. Was, I decided I had a ship. I really liked that line because it itself, it doesn't tell a whole story, but it strongly implies a significant tale that might be worth a prequel episode of how Bapaki got the ship.
Hey, I thought it was a good decision.
I love Bapaki so much. Yes, you arrived at the Oasis Crater area, where the Moon Touched made their home. They lived in the ash wastes, and while many cultures on this world are wholly devoted to the particular deity that watches over them, the ones that live in the ash wastes, the Karasites, some of them resent being told they'd have to live in a barren wasteland.
Funny that.
Yes. The ones who were told, you live in the cities, they were like, hey, cool, nice. We got sewer, right? Nice. The ones who were told to live in the forests and make art all the time, they were like, can we steal stuff too? Nice. The ones who were told to live in the mountains and told, every now and then run down the mountains and kill people and break things, they were like, you made your sale. It's fine. Those that were a bit more emo, they were living in the swamps. They were okay with that.
You had me at kill things.
Kill things and break people. Yes. Wait. I mean, that's technically still possible and possibly more traumatic. Pretty much. So the Karasites were more inclined to maybe make a treaty with a powerful blue dragon rather than do what their god insists and kill the powerful blue dragon. And what is this thing that Ellie has found? No. Bad Ellie. I will take your inspiration.
Oh, no.
Not actually taking the inspiration away. I'm threatening to, though. Okay. Well.
Ignore the emus.
Now, you can't just say something like ignore the emus. Not after our pregame discussion of the emu war.
Right. I just posted a link to emu antics. That's all.
Which I will watch later because I do believe I am recording audio this time.
Hopefully.
Oh, I hope so. The little lines are going, right?
I'm watching the little lines that are green, and then every now and then they go into yellow and red. So yes, desktop audio is recording something, I think.
Okay.
Us, right?
No, it's recording the YouTube video I'm playing in the background.
Oh.
But it's a YouTube video of a game that you were in, so I guess it's still recording you, so I can say yes. In
Concern.
any case, the blue dragon, who I believe was named Dirkja, because apparently all the dragon names I'm going to be coming up with from now on this planet are going to be Dutch. You can blame Ellie for that, but I think it's a good idea, which is why I stole it. Dirkja was named by Ellie in this particular case. That's what spawned it. Dirkja did make a bridge going through the crater for the tram car you were taking for a certain value of bridge. But it's okay because you had a lot of cobots with you and they ended up building the rest of it. You've been on your way to deliver 2 Spelljammer helms. One for you, one for PT, who looks like JR but is not JR and was originally not JR in my notes. Just NOT-JR. The Warforce formerly known as not JR is now known as PT, short for prototype. Even though they will insist that they are not a prototype, one could argue that they are, both using this timeline and the timeline they're from as examples. 2 different ways you could say they're a prototype. They will still disagree with you. And this conversation may have taken place. It may not have. You've been in a long tramcar ride with them. So
That's
Papaki
true.
decided, you know what? I found my kobolds. They are not going to be able to do whatever it is they're trying to do without me. They need my help. So second in command is temporary first in command until Papaki returns. And Papaki is going on a tram ride. Next destination is going to be, if I can find my notes again, because I clicked on a different tab in my spreadsheet. I want the one labeled plot. Cohort 1024 is the cohort that had the nearly completed angel ships. All they were missing was the helms that stopped showing up because orbital bombardment all those years ago, centuries ago, eons ago. Who knows? They lost count. It was an unsigned integer. Things rolled over a few times. Don't ask. You have finally gotten some helms. You're on your way back. Your next stop on this tram is going to be at that cohort. And yet somehow,
Toodlin.
you've all decided that you're not leaving.
Right. How can I possibly leave? People are having prophetic dreams about me.
Yeah, but you left the person having the
It would be
prophetic
rude.
dreams in the center of the planet.
That's only because we couldn't figure out how to shapeshift him so that we could bring him with us.
Point of order, I really didn't want to squeeze into the tram car.
Exactly. It would have taken shapeshifting.
I don't think dragons can do that.
If you get old enough. I mean, I think she knows this, right?
Also, why would we turn into something less cool than a dragon?
So you don't have to squeeze yourself into tiny tram cars to go places in trams?
If it's something we want to be in and it's not large enough for us, we just make it large enough for us. I don't want to be in the tram car.
To better enjoy small, precious objects.
I don't get it. Smash cut to Circulus, a luxury train. Everything is coated in velvet or gilded. Monty is there, sipping a fine brandy. He turns towards the camera and just says, "What?" Smash cut back to...
No. Oh, no.
It's a living.
Monty wasn't even going to any place in particular. Flag would teleport him anywhere he wanted to be in a hurry. He just wanted some peace and quiet on the tram car.
Valid.
After having to deal with all those sheep he couldn't eat.
Remember, those kobolds raise the sheep for food primarily. The races are just a fun diversion. Monty...
Yeah, they raised them for food for the kobolds.
And they believe that Monty is a kobold. He's there on mutton night. And he takes some mutton stew leftovers the following morning.
Yum.
We won't talk about how many mutton stew leftovers he takes. We haven't talked about the upper capacity of his hat of holding.
Oh, wow.
Or exactly
Yeah.
how large an ancient red dragon is when they get as old as Monty. Look, a dragon's got to eat is all I'm saying. And somebody figured out how to make those sheep be as big as a T-Rex because maybe they overheard some random kobold talking about doing something like that in a bar once. That's all. I will not be taking any more questions. And somehow I have selected every one of the kobolds on this map. And I need to stop doing that because now I can't move anymore.
wow.
I am going to drag over a random character. Ignore the killer whale. It is there for functional purposes. You are not actually encountering a killer whale yet.
Thank goodness.
I mean,
Yet.
you're in a tunnel.
Okay.
If you encounter a killer whale, something is going horribly wrong. Is one of you a great white shark with a tasty liver? You have to tell me if you are. What about a boat? Is any of you a
Silence.
boat?
Not that I noticed.
We won't question the DM's orchestrations. Ellie, that is gold.
Oh, orchestra. Right.
I mean, you could argue that there's some gray area about whether or not some of these puns are funny, but that one was black and white.
Slash fish. Slash fish. Slash fish.
The
No, they're dolphins.
True.
The orca
count
thanks
as-
you for your offering and wears one of them as a hat.
Oh my gosh.
They would.
Some have.
That is actually a thing that a bunch of orcas did for
It
a
is.
while,
Yes.
and they
They
taught it
put
to
fish on their head
others.
and swim around with others. Yes.
That's because
Yes.
it was funny. Orcas have a sense of humor.
All right. Well, you have been in long train rides for way more than most characters want to be on long train rides. Oddly enough,
It's
you want
taken
the
so
train
long.
rides to be boring. When they get exciting, something bad is happening. There's never a good, exciting thing on a train. So, at this point, you've probably run out of small talk. You've probably shared what everyone's done in the time since you were separated from the crash several times now. I won't ask who has embellished what story. I'm assuming Smallest Kept just cannot keep from adding more creatures that were destroyed when Smallest Kept raised. Every time Smallest Kept tells their side of it.
And since Solskjaer doesn't actually have any lungs or vocal cords, it's presumably all done in interpretive dance.
Smallest Cap has been adding extra bones.
Well, extra story details.
Oh, extra story details. Okay, that makes more sense.
But your take is funnier, so I wouldn't be opposed to both.
It's good.
Like, every now and then, Long Kept looks over and Smallest Kept looks just a little bit longer or taller.
Or more tail.
Maybe.
These need to be removed.
Extra tail.
This is not structurally sound, and all the little bones get pulled out that shouldn't be there. At one point, you
Aw.
have to you have to return one of the finger bones to lefty or righty because Longkep added that, and it was obvious because it was too heavy for Longkep to walk away after adding it. They just kept scratching their little feetsies on the floor. It was an anchor.
Scrabble, 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 scrabble. You added a boat anchor. Look at this.
Lefty or righty is just doing that finger drumming thing where they go, I don't even know if the mic is picking that up. Yeah.
It picked it up briefly.
I could hear it, yeah.
Going brrr, brrr.
Okay.
So
Well,
adding extra bones would be like giving a bird that's at least a parrot size or a cocktail size or larger a stiff piece of cardboard, and they will chew it off and then add it to the back of their tail to be fancy.
Oh no.
I
They
did
will
not
do
know
it with,
this,
sturdy
and my
enough
life is
paper as
better
well.
for this
Oh, yeah.
information.
They will. They'll take it and they'll put it in the back of their feathers to be fancy bird. You know? Even if they're an only bird and they're not signaling to a mate, some of them will just do that. Like, oh, I need this. Okay, and they just keep going.
Okay. Well, you eventually
I didn't mean to
arrive.
derail it. Sorry.
It's quite all right. You eventually arrive back at cohort 1024, and there may or may not be a group hug that takes place when Molo and Ertos see you have returned, plus one kobold. Well, actually,
Plus a different.
it's same number of kobolds, but one new kobold.
Mhm.
You're kobold neutral.
1 + 1 + 2 + 1.
A chandelier falls in the distance. Clue reference will never not be funny. for me.
Obviously.
Hmm?
I don't know. If a chandelier is falling, that means that you really should have let the opera ghost have his empty seat there, you know?
Actually, I was just testing
And also
some
when he tells you to
adhesives.
let Christine and also when the opera ghost says you have to have Christine doing the singing, you have Christine doing the singing, even if he is biased. Sorry. Phantom of the Opera trivia. You know, it's fandom. Phandom.
I am concerned that there's chandeliers in an operating room in this GIF that you have found from the Muppets.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
But also I'm reminded that I need to have a chandelier in every boss battle scene from now until the end of time.
Mm-hmm.
so
Which
people
may
can
or
swing
may
from
not
them?
be over. Well, chandeliers are like a Swiss Army knife of campaign setting props. You could swing from them. You could have them drop down upon your enemy. You could use them to light multiple fires and change the environment in difficult terrain. You could have them work for the big bad's favor. You could have it be an animated golem disguised as an animated chandelier until you try to swing from it. You could have there be pigs in space, because that's what we're looking at now.
There could be a mimic.
They could also
There
be
could
a
be a
mimic.
mimic.
This is correct. They could be a mimic. Well, Molo and Ertos are very glad to see you. They are very glad to see Bapaki survived. Ertos
brought a
has been
Warforged.
busy. Oh, don't I know you? I believe I was designed to resemble somebody you know. But no, we have never met. Oh, okay. 'Cause you look a little familiar. Trying to put my finger on it. Like, thinking. I believe I resemble... No, don't tell me. Don't tell me. I got this. Kevin. No, I am fairly certain I do not resemble Kevin. PT leans
Who
over.
is Kevin?
Yeah, PT leans over to ask Longcap who's Kevin. At the same time, Longcap asks who's Kevin.
Oh, that is an answer to the question, in that it is not an answer to the question.
Presumably
believe-
some other biped.
I believe I understand. Mari just shakes her head and goes, I haven't understood anything in a month. I believe the
Sorry,
assumption is
pets.
that the name was just grabbed out of thin air. It's not a name that we're supposed to know, so that's why we don't know it. What do you mean you don't know
I had a
Kevin?
crew member named Kevin.
Oh, was he like yay high, brown hair, sort of blended into everything? Very distracted?
Sounds like him.
You
He
see?
did the cooking for a while. That was
Oh, cool.
that was right before we had to replace half the crew.
I feel like there's a story there. The DM is trying very hard not to
Something
laugh.
about,
Mammal. Some mammal or other.
well, yeah. I mean, he didn't have a people name, so
Mammal.
Anyway, while you were gone, I made a ship.
We have a ship? That's great, because we have helms.
I mean, actually, the helm won't work on this one. I wasn't able to make a helm. Remember? I kept failing at it miserably.
Right.
That's why you went to replace my job with,
Mhm.
with no more bespoke helms, just getting the ones off the assembly line. But, it's fine and all. I
Well,
didn't need to do
We
that.
can get another one for you to
I-
study so that
I made a different ship, a better ship. It doesn't need a helm, and also doesn't fly through space, but doesn't need a helm, and also not nearly as large as the Angel ship, and no stealth capabilities, but doesn't need a helm, and does fly without needing a hot air bladder.
how does it get launched from a catapult?
Ooh, Molo, write that down. Already on it.
Oh no.
I mean, that would help with the rapid
Um,
acceleration. No,
Does it
uses a crystal.
continue fly? Oh.
Yeah. I mean, you attune to it, then you control it with your brain the same way you can use your brain when sitting in a helm, which is kind of neat.
So you made a proto helm.
No. It doesn't work 100% the same way. You control it,
Oh.
but instead of just like it being like a part of you when you're riding in a helm, you ask it to do a thing.
The crystal's a person too?
Depends on your definition of person. Like, have you ever had a well-trained dog?
No.
Well, good, because it's not like
I
that
got
at all.
called a dog once.
Not quite the same thing. It's you tell it to do it, and then it does it. It's like commanding it.
You're using one of the crystals. Right.
Yeah. I did some things, and the crystal got bigger, and usually the crystals get used in like some of the more intelligent cobots, but
Huh?
this was too big to put in a head for a cobot, and I'm told it might end up being a thinking thing, but most cobots aren't for years and years and years. So it just follows commands. Won't Might not always, but right now that's all it does.
It's a baby.
Not sure that's technically accurate. The conversation is cut short when the ground shakes. Did you do that?
I think so.
Not to my knowledge.
It shakes again. Bits of rock start to fall off of the ceiling.
Get the helms to a secure place.
The cobots started taking them to the ships as soon as you brought them, so they might be
Good.
installed already.
Quick, go. We should get to the ships.
Yes, I think we should. It shakes again, and suddenly you see daylight.
Uh-oh.
You see daylight because a large portion of what was behind you isn't there anymore. Briefly, before the ceiling that wasn't the ceiling before, but everything below it got swept away. That part of the mountain just gets ripped away. And those of you who look in that direction see in the daylight, the dazzling daylight because kobolds, just a wall
Sorry's doing a better job.
of very large white scales. And then the ceiling comes crashing down and you don't see them anymore.
They're big. Run away.
Ertos would be running, but currently Ertos is being carried by Molo,
Oh,
as Molo
Yeah,
is running.
Time to run away.
Hmm.
I think everyone is going to run for the closest ship that is shippable.
That sounds like a plan. So I'm not going to require rolls right now because of stuff that's happening off camera that's being dealt with. So let's make this be a bit easier. But you continue to run. You've been in the hangar before, so you generally know the way. You get separated from Molo and Ertos at some point. That you are dodging things falling from the sky or falling from the ceiling. There have been a few more moments where something outside was coming in, a few more bits of daylight. At one point, everything got several degrees colder and frost started forming on things. You saw your breath coming out of your mouth. Not enough to do damage. You weren't getting hit by this attack, but something in the vicinity was. When you get to the hangar, there's a lot of ships that are smashed because mountain falling down.
There better be a working helm.
Okay. Jen and Io, what we're doing is I'm wrapping things up at a good stopping point. The stopping point is a very large white dragon is attacking the mountain and we're ending it on a cliffhanger.
You don't want to be hanging from a cliff.
No, the hangar is on a cliff.
Well, it sure is now. Oh no. Why do I feel like what Sori is possibly going to do is tell PT that PT needs to get back to Circulus and tell people what happened, and I think she wants to look for the airship because she could use it to try to use it as a diversion and go and somebody should use it as a diversion so that PD's ship can get out and not get smashed by an angry white dragon who is upset probably because its god shtick has been uncovered.
Well, if you want to do this plan that you just got upset at coming up with,
Yep.
the ship in question, as my Windows chime gets recorded, looks kind of like a bird made of wood. And it's sitting right there. And you can
Best
also
to climb
see
in.
at least one of the ships with a current working helm, hopefully, because there's a bunch of cobot harvesters leaving it. And that's when we're going to end it.
Pete. Okay.
Thank you everyone for playing. Thank you everyone for listening. I am Crash. I've been your DM for the evening. Tonight I was joined by a bunch of awesome people, including Beth, Ellie, Io, and Jen. Who wants to plug a thing?
Io's mom writes books, elizabeth-mccoy.com, and you can also get them at basically almost any legitimate location, and you can ask your library to get the ebooks via Overdrive, and because they're real cheap.
Legitimate locations run by legitimate businessmen. Wait.
Yeah, unfortunately, Smashwords, Nook, Kobo, the Zon Empire.
I know, but I thought it was funny anyway.
Amazon. Yeah, well.
And speaking of books...
Speaking of books.
Okay, so speaking of books, my website is jen.net. and I've been trying to put things on it lately, but I've been busy and/or sick construction work outside of my house, basically. But you can find stuff there. There's a lot. I've been writing on that site for a lot of gaming stuff, a lot of other stuff. Also, I'm the host of the Shattered Zone podcast. That's at shatterzone.com. New episode just went up today, and had to skip an episode because of the construction work. So other than that, everything's cool, and I have a little cockatiel running around on my desk.
And speaking of websites, Mindtest.net is a really fun game. It's like an open source Minecraft, but you can install mods without having to go to CurseForge to get things to install other things. So it just works out of the box, which is really neat. But that's not what everyone was expecting me to talk about. So instead, I will talk about our Patreon. You can help us keep the lights on at patreon.com/cogwheelgaming and join other illustrious patrons, including Chris, Ellie, Eric, Shenshin, Walter, and patron emeritus Cindy. And until next time, this is Crash saying, right, all I need to do is make sure that when I was programmed, I was given instructions for how to use a helm. I was given instructions for how to... There's no buttons on this. What do I do?
Sit.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.